Live. I'm your host, Jackie Mendez. Happy Thursday, everyone. And I just want to go ahead, before we introduce our attorneys today, just to remind you guys that this is a live show. You can give us a call whenever you'd like. The number is 888-88-LEGAL. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our attorneys for the day. Today we have Frank Hara.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure. And also, of course, Javier Rodriguez.
Thanks, Jackie. Great to be here. Look forward to the show.
And of course, our lovely partner, Jennifer Pratt.
Thank you, Jackie. It's a pleasure to be here with everyone today.
That's right. Well, today we're talking a little bit about some labor laws. We're going to be talking personal injury with you, of course, Jennifer, and workman's comp. We have a great show for you guys today. Jennifer, take it on.
It's the free show. It's one of our favorite shows, and the reason we call it the free show is because all the cases we're going to be highlighting today are cases that you pay nothing up front, no cost, nothing. We bear everything, and the only way you owe us any money is if we're able to collect for you. If we cannot collect, then the case was free all around. And that's why we have these experienced, seasoned attorneys here with us today to talk a little bit about these cases. We have, as Jackie mentioned, Attorney Hara, who's going to be talking to us about things like minimum wage, overtime, some of the exceptions that may occur. And also we want to talk about retaliation. What about if you have a claim against your employer and you're fired? We're going to bring in Attorney Rodriguez as well, who handles exclusively workers' compensation, and how relevant retaliation claims are in the workers' compensation area as well. So with that being said, gentlemen, I promised that I wasn't going to talk much today. I'm going to give it away literally to Attorney Hara. You mentioned retaliation. How does that come into play? How is that relevant? How does someone know they're a victim of it? What can they do?
Thank you so much. Well, let me get into it a little quick. Let me give a brief background of what exactly it is that I do. I do what is called wage and hour law, and it basically means, are you getting paid minimum wage? Are you getting paid overtime for any hours over 40? And to address the point that you brought up, Jennifer, that's a very good point. Sometimes employees, when they bring their claims against their employers, the employers decide to terminate their employment. And it is against the law to terminate an employee for bringing their rights. So if they do terminate your employment as a result of you asking to get paid a minimum wage or for asking to get paid for overtime, that's also a claim that can be brought.
Okay, so if I go to my employer and I tell my employer, hey, I at least want to make minimum wage because you have me on a commission salary here, but I need to make my minimum wage because I'm not meeting that commission.
Right.
I can't. They can't really fire me for that, can they?
They cannot terminate you for asking to get paid what is your legal right. Now, you mentioned commissions. Now, commission structures are a little different. At the end of the day, at the end of your pay period, you still need to meet or exceed the minimum wage for the work week, and depending on what type of commission structure you're under, car salesman, retail, there's certain exceptions that apply, but you are supposed to still meet or exceed the minimum wage. And if they do terminate you for having brought that to their attention, that is what is called under the law retaliatory discharge, and it is actionable.
Thank you so much, Attorney Hara. Ladies and gentlemen, 888-88-LEGAL. That's the number you want to call for any solutions. We got them.
And, you know, speaking about retaliatory, what about in the context of workers' compensation, Attorney Rodriguez? Does that exist? Because most of the folks, and I'm not sure, actually, this is another question that you can answer as well, both of you, is do most people make the claims while they're still an employee of the company? I'll start with you, Attorney Rodriguez.
So yeah, with workers' comp, you're required to, if you get hurt, tell your employer. You have 30 days to report your accident, but you want to tell them right away when it happens, because that'll trigger the insurance. You're going to get your workers' comp benefits paid as far as your medical benefits, where they pay all your medical bills, your doctors, your treatment, your therapies, and they also have to send you checks every week to your house while you're off from work. A lot of people sometimes are scared to report a claim because they think, hey, what, if I report the claim, they may fire me. Even if they fire you, your workers' comp case still exists. So that's important to know. Even if after you have your claim, you've been treating for 6 months, many times the employer is going to fire you because you may not be able to go back to do your job, but that does not terminate your case. You still have a case. So it's important for anybody out there that's listening today or watching us live, if you had a job and you were fired and you had a workers' comp case, even if it was 2 years ago, that case is still technically open, and we can help you settle that case and get some money for you.
Awesome. So we'll be receiving checks, even though...
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So once they terminate you, if you're off of work, they still have to send you those checks every week to your house while you can't work.
Okay, that's a good thing.
And
okay.
Jennifer, to address that point from the wage and hour point, it is important to make your claim as soon as you realize that you're not getting paid your correct wages, because there are certain limitations that may prevent you from making a full claim. So sometimes you'll realize you're not getting paid overtime while you're working during your employment. So sometimes it does come up. It doesn't happen after the employment a lot of times. Sometimes you realize it while you're working.
And just to jump in there, as far as wages are concerned, that's one of the reasons why you need to hire a workers' comp attorney who knows the law. Because a lot of times you may think you're getting paid correctly, and in fact you're not. Let me give you an example. If you got hurt at Target, but you also are a commissioned employee having a second job or a third job as an Uber driver, the workers' comp carrier at Target from where you got hurt, they're required not to only pay you for your wages from Target, but also pay for that commission-based employment and also for that Uber check. So a lot of times you may be receiving a check and they're underpaying you. There's monies that are owed to you. You would never know how to calculate that unless you have an attorney on your side that's going to fight for your wages, for your rights. They have attorneys on the insurance company side. You need to have an attorney on your side.
Let me ask you, I have a question. Sure. While you're doing these analysis about who's getting paid, do you ever come across claims of underpaid employees or?
That's a great question, Frank. Basically, once we get all the payroll records, we'll be able to find out if there's any overtime claim possibly. So when we review all of the wages for the 3 months prior to being hurt, we're going to get their specific time cards, payroll records, and if something comes up where they're not getting paid properly, they may have an overtime case, and you have two attorneys here who can work together on your case and get you the best recovery possible.
So it's very important to be thorough with these cases. So you shouldn't just go to any attorney with these. You need to have someone that knows what you're doing, they're, experienced in this type of law, right,
Absolutely.
Jennifer?
Okay, well, thank you so much, Attorney Rodriguez. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have to go on a short break. Production's telling me we have to go on a break, but I want to remind you guys, the number on the screen, 888-88-LEGAL. That's the number you need to call.
That's right, Jackie. We still have a lot more to cover with Attorney Hara and Attorney Rodriguez. Clearly, these two contingency areas intersect. And when we come back, we'll continue to speak with them about these issues as well as some personal injury. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. The number is on the screen. 888-88-LEGAL. The first consultation is free. You have absolutely nothing to lose. Give us a call. We'll be right back.
I know you're home right now asking yourself, how? How will I pay my rent, my mortgage, my bills, my credit card debt? I'm attorney Alexis Garcia with PraDa Law. I've personally helped people with financial problems over the last 10 years. I understand what you are going through. We saw people lose it all in the 2008 financial crisis. You don't have to lose it all. The consultation is free. Call us now. I will help protect what you have built. You have nothing to lose by calling us. Call us now. These are trying times. This deadly virus is affecting our health, economy, jobs, our small business owners. Bankruptcy protection may be able to save assets and immediately stop your creditors from harassing you. Small business owners, employees of business of any size. We know you need help. Call us now. We will help you get back on your feet. Don't wait until it's too late. This is the time to call.
Sé que estás en la casa ahora mismo preguntándote, ¿cómo voy a pagar la hipoteca, la renta, los biles, las tarjetas de crédito? Soy la abogada Jennifer Pratt con PraDa Law. Yo personalmente he ayudado a las personas con problemas financieros durante los últimos 10 años. Yo entiendo por lo que estás pasando. Vimos cómo la gente lo perdió todo durante la crisis financiera de 2008. No tienes que perderlo todo. Llama ahora. La consulta es gratis. Te ayudaremos a proteger todo lo que has construido durante todos estos años. Sabemos que estos son tiempos difíciles. Este virus mortal está amenazando nuestra salud, nuestra economía, nuestros empleos y a los propietarios de nuestras pequeñas empresas. La consulta es gratis. Llame ahora. Te ayudaremos a recuperarte. No esperes hasta que sea demasiado tarde. Llame ya.
Welcome back to PraDa Law Live, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I'm your host, Jackie Mendez. We've been talking a little bit about labor laws. We've touched upon some workman's comp, but I definitely have a question for Jennifer, actually. We got a question in from one of our viewers who said, is an Amazon driver and was obviously on the job in his truck, got in a car accident. Does he have a claim?
Right. So really interesting. This driver will have a personal injury claim, and certainly if for any reason this driver had any passengers, if there were any sort of ride share, obviously they would also have a claim as well. The ideal personal injury claim is someone whose accident is not their fault, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's a stark contrast, for example, with workers' compensation, because week in after week in, Attorney Rodriguez has reminded us that the beautiful thing really about workers' comp is that it doesn't matter, whereas in PI it does matter if it's your fault or not. Apparently not in workers' compensation?
That's right. It doesn't matter. There's basically, you could have been at fault, you stepped on a stool, you went on a box, you dropped the box on your head. It doesn't matter. As long as you're in the course and scope of employment, as long as you're doing your job, doing what you're supposed to do, if you caused the accident, you're still entitled to workers' comp benefits.
Wait, so even if I cause the accident, even if I'm at fault for the accident, if I'm on the job, I'm still, okay.
That's correct, Jackie. Yeah, you can be driving the forklift, not paying attention, looking down on your phone, and you crash into a wall, they still have to provide you workers' comp benefits, meaning they got to pay for all your medical care and checks while you're not working.
And that's really different from the personal injury context, because most of the time, if it is your fault, you may not have a claim. However, I don't want to discourage anyone from not coming to the office because the consultation is free. And one of the things we do have in personal injury in the state of Florida, other states vary, is we do have comparative negligence, right? So that means that even if maybe the accident was a portion of it your fault, okay? So for example, maybe the person came running on the other side of the road and smashed into you, but the truth is you were looking down at your phone, you were distracted. A jury could come back with a percentage of fault for you and a percentage of fault for the other driver, and that necessarily does not mean that you don't have a case. In fact, there have been $1 million verdicts, and of course every case is different, where there have been, $10 million, but just the person that we're representing, let's say hypothetically the plaintiff, is only, 20% at fault. Well, then that means there's still 80% of that $10 million verdict would go to that person. So I don't want to discourage anyone to say, well, the accident was my fault, I shouldn't call. You should still give us a call. We should still analyze. I've had cases where it would appear that it was my guy or my girl's fault, and somehow, some way, we're able to maneuver the case around and present it in a way where there's at least some sort of percentage of fault, but not 100% of fault of our client.
Thank you, Attorney. Okay.
To touch on that point of not being your fault, there's something similar with wage and hour. Sometimes you'll just work overtime and your boss never tells you, hey, get off the clock, and you just keep working. And even though you might have made a mistake and worked over the 40 hours, if you still worked, you're still entitled to pay, even though you weren't supposed to be working. Unless your employer has specifically told you, hey, don't work anymore, they still have to pay you. So even if it's not your fault, you accidentally went over a few hours, those hours still have to be paid.
Thank you, Attorney Hara. Well, 888-88-LEGAL. Ms. Pratt said the consultation's free, the call is free. You have nothing to lose. Also, the show's live, so give us a call if you have any questions.
Give us a call. We're here to answer the questions that you may have. And again, just a reminder, today, workers' compensation with Attorney Rodriguez and labor cases with Attorney Hara. And I'd like to ask both of you guys, with regards to these cases, what would you say, I know in one of the episodes we talked about why it's important to have an attorney in these cases. And I don't want to put anyone on the spot. Either one of you can answer. But I'd like to hear why you think, specifically in your area, what is the highlight or the benefit, the incentive of having an attorney versus not? Because I know that in both areas, as well as PI, sometimes people are encouraged not to get an attorney. Don't get them. They're just going to take your money and take a percentage. You can do this yourself. And they try to encourage people to do these on your own. And in your particular cases, it's the employer that may be telling them, you don't want to bring an attorney into this. I'm your friend. I'm your employer.
Well, let me touch upon that. It's a very good question, because I do get that question often regarding, that very question. Now, I think it's important to hire an attorney because you may not be aware of all your rights. You may not be aware that you may be owed double your outstanding wages. You may not be aware that you may be owed time and a half. You may not be aware that even if you do hire an attorney, the employer is responsible for the payment of that attorney. So you're going to walk away basically with your entire paycheck and some more in your pocket, and the attorney is going to get paid from the employer.
Wow, so nothing's going to come out of my pocket then?
No.
Wow. I like that.
Attorney Rodriguez, I know we're short on time, but I think we can squeeze in why you think, unless you want to wait till the break.
I think I got a lot of things why we need an attorney.
We'll wait after the break. Take it away, Jackie.
I definitely want to remind all the viewers at home to go ahead and call. The consultation is free. The call is free. 888-88-LEGAL, and the number's easy.
We're like one of those shows. We're going to come right back, and we're going to have Attorney Rodriguez talk to us about why he thinks it's important to have an attorney in the workers' compensation. I'll explain why I think so in the PI. And then I want to go back to Attorney Hara about these double damages. That sounded really interesting to me. Anytime I can get double anything, I'm all for it. So we'll be right back right after the break.
I know you're home right now asking yourself, how? How will I pay my rent, my mortgage, my bills, my credit card debt? I'm attorney Alexis Garcia with PraDa Law. I've personally helped people with financial problems over the last 10 years. I understand what you are going through. We saw people lose it all in the 2008 financial crisis. You don't have to lose it all. The consultation is free. Call us now. I will help protect what you have built. You have nothing to lose by calling us. Call us now. These are trying times. This deadly virus is affecting our health, economy, jobs, our small business owners. Bankruptcy protection may be able to save assets and immediately stop your creditors from harassing you. Small business owners, employees of business of any size, we know you need help. Call us now. We will help you get back on your feet. Don't wait until it's too late. This is the time to call.
Sé que estás en la casa ahora mismo preguntándote, ¿cómo voy a pagar la hipoteca, la renta, los biles, las tarjetas de crédito? Soy la abogada Jennifer Pratt con PraDa Law. Yo personalmente he ayudado a las personas con problemas financieros durante los últimos 10 años. Yo entiendo por lo que estás pasando. Vimos cómo la gente lo perdió todo durante la crisis financiera del 2008. No tienes que perderlo todo. Llama ahora. La consulta es gratis. Te ayudaremos a proteger todo lo que has construido durante todos estos años. Sabemos que estos son tiempos difíciles. Este virus mortal está amenazando nuestra salud, nuestra economía, nuestros empleos y a los propietarios de nuestras pequeñas empresas. La consulta es gratis. Llame ahora. Te ayudaremos a recuperarte. No esperes hasta que sea demasiado tarde. Llame ya.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is PraDa Law Live. I'm Jackie Mendez, your host. We've been talking a little bit about labor laws, like I told you and mentioned before. We've touched up on some personal injury, but we definitely had a question lingering there for Attorney Rodriguez. So we're going to get right into it.
That's right. The question before the break was why. The question of why, what are some of the benefits of having an attorney represent you in a workers' compensation claim? We've heard oftentimes employers trying to discourage their employees. They'll say things like, you're already getting your medical paid, you're getting the therapy, you're getting your check sent home. What do you need an attorney for? Why don't they want an attorney, and why should they get an attorney, Attorney Rodriguez?
That's a great question. And prior to working for the injured worker, I worked 5 years for the insurance companies and the employers. When I did that, I had an opportunity to evaluate and view how they resolve these cases. They're never going to pay you top dollar. They're an insurance company. They want to save their money, have their money earn interest, and pay you as little as possible. So one of the things that these insurance companies are not going to tell you is that you can settle your workers' comp case. And when they evaluate that claim, they're going to look at what's the future medical cost and the future indemnity payments. It's hard for someone who's never been through the process to understand and to properly know how much is your case worth. So they're never going to offer you top value. So it's important to hire an attorney, someone who does this, not someone that does medical malpractice or someone that does auto claims. You want a seasoned workers' comp attorney who specializes in this area of the law. Also, these adjusters, they have thousands of cases. You are a number to them. They don't care if they're sending you to a specific doctor or the wrong doctor or another doctor. You want an attorney there to make sure you get to the right doctor. What they're trying to do is get you to a doctor, get you back to work, and get you out of the system as quickly as possible. So there's many, many reasons why you have to have an attorney. Again, these insurance companies, the employers, they have attorneys on their side, and it's only fair, it's only right to you have someone on your side fighting for you.
Okay, thank you so much, Attorney Rodriguez. 888-88-LEGAL. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the free show, which means We don't get paid unless you get paid. So give us a call. The consultation's free, the call's free. You really don't have anything to lose. 888-88-LEGAL.
Attorney Rodriguez, in the PI context, for example, the insurance, the adverse, the other side, right? The other insurance company, whether it be Geico, State Farm, whatever, they'll often do, especially once we're in litigation, they'll often do some sort of medical examination. And we don't get to pick what doctors they go to. Are you telling me that in the workers' compensation, in a workers' compensation claim, if I'm the injured employee, you can help me choose what doctor, or how does that work? Is there like an in-network situation?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. You do have to go through their managed care lists, but you are entitled to a one-time free change, meaning that they send you to Dr. X, who's an orthopedic. You've gone there for a couple months, and for whatever reason, you're not liking the way he's treating you, you don't think he's paying attention, we can file a claim to switch the doctor and to get you to somebody else.
Attorney Hara, you said you had something to add?
Because I think it's important to note that a lot of times the reason you really want an attorney is because you're going to get bogged down in paperwork. You're going to get bogged down in loopholes. You're going to get bogged down in dates you're not going to be able to make, phone calls you're not going to understand. And it's important to have a professional who's going to be available when they make that phone call, be available when they want you to fill out that paperwork. It could be very confusing, and you really want it to be done correctly.
That's right. Don't get lost in the paperwork. Okay, 888-88-LEGAL, that's the number you want to call. If you don't want to get lost in that paperwork, ladies and gentlemen, give us a call. Consultation is free.
And I have a question. For example, in the PI context, a lot of the cases come to us pre-litigation, meaning the person just got into an accident, whether it was a few days ago or a few weeks ago, but they're not in litigation. Do your cases, Attorney Hara, do they ever go to litigation? Do you ever actually have to file a lawsuit?
Well, for your wage and hour claims, you can go pre-litigation, which basically means you send a demand letter out, and if the employer agrees with your position, they go ahead and pay you. But a lot of times the employers don't agree, they ignore your request, and these cases go to litigation most of the time. Most of the time it's required to go to court, file pleadings in court, and it could be cumbersome.
And I'll tell you, I definitely don't recommend that anyone try to represent themselves in any kind of legal proceeding, let alone something as specific as these wage claims, whether it's at the state or federal level. What about workers' compensation? It seems like that even amongst us attorneys, this is this sort of niche area that is sort of like a dungeon based. No one knows about it. Like I'm learning as I've been here with you now a few weeks. Is it administrative? Is it you go to court? Do you file? How does that work?
So we definitely file pleadings. It's called a petition for benefits, but it's an administrative law judge. So there's no jury, and that judge will rule on the specific issues, the specific benefits. So again, a layperson going through the system, if you wanted to change your doctor and the insurance company denied it, you're not going to know how to file and get before that judge. If they're paying you a certain amount of money per week and those wages are incorrect and they're shorting you money and you're not getting paid correctly, you're not going to know how to file that paperwork and get before that judge. So again, it's not that we're trying to scare you to get an attorney. We call it the free show because you have nothing to lose. You're not paying for our services. You're not paying.
Can trip you up.
Yeah. You're not paying hourly. So you're basically, we're working for you for free. We're a partnership. If we can get you a settlement, that's how we get paid, and that's how you get paid.
Right. Help them get organized, basically, and keep that organization, because they are it can be confusing, handling yourself in a court, at least. Ladies and gentlemen, 888-88-LEGAL. That's the number you want to call. Call's free, consultation's free, and this is the free show. We don't get paid unless you get paid.
That's right. And administrative settings are just as powerful, just as binding as going into anything, any other court proceeding. So I don't want people to think that because you're not going in front of a judge, this is a judge, this is a legal proceeding. Right. Okay. So I just want folks to understand that and not think like, oh, this is just an administrative thing. It's not really like court. It is, and your rights are going to be affected if you're not properly represented in these proceedings. We're about to wrap up the show, but is there any last-minute thoughts any of you want to say before we leave?
Last minute thought would be, if you believe you're not getting paid your wages, if you believe you're not getting paid for the hours you worked or the overtime, give us a call. Have a free consultation. Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, but you will never know.
Thank you so much to everyone. This is the free show. Give us a call. We'll see you guys next week. It's been a pleasure.